My name is Linda. Welcome back to this week's seasonal podcast. Today I have got Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, hi. Lovely
Mm.
to meet you and lovely to be here. Thank you.
So, before we go to the question and the PowerPoint, just about what your company is about, what you do, and everything like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I've worked in the fashion business for over 30 years. And in the past couple of years, as a side hustle and a bit of a hobby, I have done one-on-one styling, personal styling, really focused on growing people's confidence as opposed to imposing my style on them, and with a view to try and stop over purchasing. So the restyling agency was launched a couple of years ago, um, with that intention, really, in a nutshell, kind of what it's about.
Right. So
Yeah,
I'm going to bring up your PowerPoint. So,
yeah,
if you can see that, if
yeah.
you want to go to the next slide, just tell me.
I think we can go on to the next slide. That's fine because that's just my logo in the beautiful bright pink, which I think is very cheering. So, like I said, I've been in the fashion industry for over 30 years, mainly in buying and merchandising. So, really strategizing, pulling together ranges, making sure that they work financially and profitably, launching them and trading them. So, really kind of full on job, very long hours. And every Monday at 10 o'clock, we had a meeting discussing the previous week's figures. And it was really all about that, how good your figures were or how bad your figures were. I really loved it. I moved down from the northeast of England to London to work in fashion, and I really, really enjoyed it. But obviously, as I got a bit older, the job is quite demanding and I just burnt out really. So I decided to use my skills that I'd learned from great companies and great people to be a business consultant and go into other businesses to help them develop their business, help them with their people, whatever issue they needed addressing, I would go and either help them identify it or deal with it, help them deal with it. So that's been, I've been able to travel quite a lot internationally. I've been in Russia, I've been in Italy, I've been in Germany, Switzerland, and obviously in the UK as well. So that is still ongoing, but I think as I said, I have a sideline in terms of styling, which I've just been doing locally where I live, and I get an awful lot of pleasure out of it and a lot of enjoyment out of it because I can see people kind of grow. Obviously, in 2020, we had loads of life challenges with COVID. I had bereavements. I was also diagnosed with breast cancer that year and had treatment that year. So, quite a lot going on. And I kind of decided that, yes, I need to continue doing a business consult, but to formalize the restyling agency because also fashion has become very disposable, I think, as we all know. Um, and there's lots of fashion going into landfill, clothing going to landfill. So I really wanted to join that revolution about buying less, wearing more, and restyling your wardrobe as opposed to going out and buying loads of stuff all the time. So I formally launched the website, I think last year, the year before, actually. I've got 2025 on here, but and that's yeah, that's what I really enjoy, as well as doing some business consultancy. Yeah. So the real aim of the restyling agency, given the experience that I've had in terms of business and in terms of fashion, in terms of styles, in terms of trends, I've seen so many trends come and go. And in terms of my own experience from having breast cancer, I really want to help people, no matter who, to be able to express themselves through their own style. Because that really, really helps confidence. I mean, I can wear some very, very bright things, and people kind of often say, oh my God, I wish I could wear that color, or I wish I could wear that. And of course you can. It's just a different mindset. Also, in terms of restyling a wardrobe, you can save money by just not buying loads and loads of stuff. A lot of people I meet or I work with feel really guilty about how much stuff they have and they're not wearing it. So it's to really focus on, buying better. I'm not against people buying stuff, but buy better, wear it more, and save money by doing that as well, and hopefully save the environment a little bit as well. I also help them identify where they've got gaps in their wardrobe so we can target what they want to buy and buy it better. So you've got say one thing that can go with several different outfits or style it in different ways. Also, if they've got a, an event, it's often quite difficult to buy for an event now, especially a wedding with hats and all of that. So I do accompany people shopping. I do a bit of scouting out beforehand to see what's available out there, because so much is online now. But I think when it comes to an event, you really need to try things on, especially hats. Dresses can be very difficult to fit. So, and also I think shopping in real life is much more valuable than shopping online, because of all the returns, the cost of returns, the inconvenience of returns, and the actual environmental cost of returns as well. They're quite huge, and that must have an environmental impact as well. So, like I say, I want to reduce the environmental impact from fashion on the environment. And I also have some pieces that I rent out. So if there is, if somebody wants something specific, but they don't want to have to invest in buying it, or they just want something for one purpose, they can rent from me and they don't have to keep it in their wardrobe. So that's really the purpose and the aim. And this is just my contact details in terms of my website. I have Facebook page, Instagram page, and possibly launching on TikTok at some stage if I actually get the confidence to do that. And that's me.
Really is PowerPoint. I know how to help those these questions for you, put them in the chat as well. Put them in the chat. And the first week, is there a social requirement behind your work?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely social wise, this is about really, there's lots of stylists in the world, but I'm very focused on it being personal and being individual to that person. So it is social in a respect. And it also, if it helps people's confidence, then it helps them in a social environment, in a work environment too. So I would say definitely, and then definitely environmental. Having worked in buying and merchandising, we were all about selling more, which meant buying more. And now the industry has got with fast fashion, because I started before fast fashion was even, and online was even a dream. There is so much product out there, and so much of it is going to landfill. And I really want to encourage people to buy better, wear what they've got, restyle it, wear it differently, rather than just going out and buying more and more stuff just because it's cheap. Because then the charity shops can't sell cheap clothing. I'm not going to name brand names, but they can't sell a t-shirt that you can buy in the shop for the same price as the charity shop selling it for.
Right.
So that is ending up in landfill, and it's quite a big, there's some big names involved in that, and it's people buy things because it's cheap, and then they don't wear them, and then they go to the charity shop, and then it just becomes stuck. So that's, and I know from being on the end of, I caused some of that by doing my job.
Yeah.
But I've never worked in fast fashion, and it's become a bit of a behemoth, really, a bit of a dinosaur. But I want to just raise awareness of that as well. Just be careful of what you buy.
Yeah.
We know that any manufacturing really can't be truly sustainable, because you've got to transport things, and even working in the business, you can't, you might know that your fabric's been made sustainably. You might know that the wool has come from some great sheep in Scotland, but you don't know where the threads come from, the buttons have come from. You don't know the transportation costs. You don't, in terms of environmental impact.
And also about money, isn't it? About money.
Exactly, yeah. And you don't know how much people are getting paid for things, I mean, there are a couple of fast fashion retailers, I think, have got a reputation for not treating particularly their factory workers very well. And that's got to be a consideration. If something's going to cost you £5 and you think, oh, that's a really good, you've got to think about, well, how much is that person actually making it, being paid to do that?
Right.
And that's always in my mind when I'm shopping. There's exploitation going on. And you're right, it is all about money. And I know that from, Monday mornings back in the day when I was working for, the high street players, it was, how much should we sell? How much profit did we make? And you were only ever as good as the previous week, which was great. It was exciting. And, we weren't buying huge volumes back then.
Wow.
We were much more focused on outfit building for customers. We were much more focused on full price sell through. So if you buy 100 and you sell you've got 80% sell through. It
Wow.
wasn't just buying it for the sake of it and piling it high. We were much more strategic. And that element I really enjoyed as well, feeling like I was in control of the business, that my
Yeah,
areas,
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
departments.
yeah,
But if I had high markdown cost, for example, I wasn't doing a good job. And I don't think that's the same standard now. It seems to be, or high returns. Some online businesses have like 50% returns, which, if that was, back in our day, that would have been really bad. We were
yeah,
very good
yeah.
because you just,
Mm.
for one, some customers, obviously, if you're buying a dress, you might buy a couple of sizes to see which
Right.
one fits better
Mm.
online
Yeah,
because you
yeah, yeah.
have to.
Right.
But then, the fabric expectation is often different to what you receive. The colour as
Mm.
well online can often be really different. And, with like on a 50% returns rate, maybe that's, underestimating it. That's a lot
Mm.
of toing and froing and a lot of
Wow.
that's environmentally damaging. And then not all returns are processed, so they end up going into the landfill as well, or
Yeah.
into into other routes which aren't necessarily environmentally friendly. So
Wow.
the big impact that fashion has on the
Mm.
environment, yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Although
So,
we love it, we
yeah.
love having new things, and we good. I think we just need to be mindful and have some awareness of what that impact might be.
So this is the last question before we wrap up.
Yeah.
So, how does the Royal Agency support people with disabilities in promoting themselves through fashion?
Well, this is a massive, massive challenge
Mm.
because accessible clothing is more or less non-existent.
Really?
So yeah,
Mm.
there's not most people who have disabilities that I know make their own things, because I think just broadly, just
Mm.
even from my perspective,
Yeah.
people think of disability as one thing. They're not. There's
No.
loads of different
Yeah.
disabilities. And say someone in a wheelchair needs something differently accessible than someone who has hearing or sight impairment. It's all I can do is what accessorize, really, because it depends on the disability, obviously, but I'm thinking more about, someone I know who's in a wheelchair. I know she really struggles because she has to make her own things. She does
Right.
amazingly and has amazing stuff, and dresses beautifully and colourfully, but I think there's a real gap in being able to offer people with disabilities clothing, especially if they're physical disabilities. And that's something I think retailers, but again, it comes down to money.
Yeah, money,
Not
like
enough money in
money.
it.
I mean, if you
Yeah,
look at the government, this is like, if you look at the pattern of the government sees that, but this is
yeah,
the pattern part. Like, if
yeah,
you look at the parliament, or if you look at
yeah,
the
yeah,
perspective of the
yeah,
mind,
yeah.
then people don't realise what their mind is like.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, just because you have a disability doesn't mean to say you shouldn't be expressing yourself. I think it's hard enough to be seen. So where, the only thing I can really do is try and give people confidence. And like I say, most of the time when it's someone in a chair, then it's accessories, because I can't find, a dress, a coat that is going to be okay for someone in a chair, because it's never long enough at the back, or it's not the
Right.
right length at the front.
Yeah.
So I guess, you have to like get things tailored. It's just crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, on your website, you have any e-hearing or SMS text?
Do you
For
know
people,
what? I don't, but I'm definitely going to look at that. Yeah.
yeah. For people who need to listening,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
possible SMS.
Right. Okay. Let me check that out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
So, what else can people find you apart from your website, Facebook, Instagram? How people find you?
They're the main places, really.
Mm.
I don't have well, if people want to rent from me, they come to where I live and see what I've got. But other than that, where for wardrobe overhauls and revisions, I go to them. But yeah, the main visibility I have is really on Instagram and Facebook. And like I say, if I can get my confidence together myself to do
Mm.
TikTok and then my website. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything you want to say to the audience before we wrap up?
I just want to say, to everybody, lots of love and express yourself the best way that you can
Mm.
because, we're all individuals, we're all lovely, and just, keep smiling. Thank you
Mm.
very much. That's wonderful. Thank you very
Mm.
much. I've really enjoyed it. Great
Thank
to meet
you.
you.